In this video, we're going to unpackage how challenges create lessons for us in the business. But more importantly, we talk about why it's really a necessary part of the overall journey that you and I are taking in this thing we call life. We're operating life at the same time we're operating businesses. I want to also share with you how you can allow pain to be a part of the lesson and it not hurt as bad. Kenny talks often in his conversations with people that pain always stems from resisting what already is. Learn how in this video to accept the things that are going on around us and also learn how to unlock the handcuffs that we placed upon ourselves and upon our business. The question is, are you seeing the big picture? But maybe you don't have all the details. Learn how to trust the process by watching this video. You don't want them to repeat your mistakes. Is that like
Yes.
example? I don't want you to know what it's not like to not make payroll, but that individual is going to have to experience another moment like that.
Yes, the
Right.
same challenging
Because it's not
physiology.
It's not about the thing.
No,
It's about the process
that drives the behavior change. Yes.
So example for me as well. I was raised one way by a parent, and I'm raising my kids differently. And every generation, I think, creates a different raising, if that makes sense. But at the core, there's some fundamentals, right? There's some fundamentals that I followed with my raising that I apply with my kids' life. But at the same token, there's things that I do differently than the way I was raised because I realize what it did to me. Yeah. But I look back and I'm like, and somebody said to me the other day, like, you didn't turn out so bad. And I'm like, but man, if you only knew what all had to happen to get to where I'm at today, to being a responsible adult. Well, the same is true about service businesses.
Yes, it's all necessary. You wouldn't be who you are without all that pain.
They've got to go through it. So if I'm an owner today, I've went through the pain of hiring a general manager and that doesn't work out. So I'll just keep running it.
Yep.
Or I went through the pain of, we're gonna go this route and do this, because I heard, somebody talk about like, oh, we don't do it that way because of blah, blah, blah. And it was a situation where, I don't want to get in the weeds, but I was explaining to this company, like, here is how you can run this process, and this is the end result. Well, the license holder wasn't the owner.
Yeah.
And the license holder was like, yeah, no, we're not going to do that. It's my license. And I said to the owner, separate conversation, I said, so what's the plan to get the backup license holder?
Yeah, we got to have another option, period.
Yeah, and here's what's funny, man. Like, people in the service business handcuff themselves and do nothing to get out of it.
Yeah.
They'll handcuff themselves going into it.
Yes.
And not try to do anything to get out. It blows my mind. It goes back to, what's the end game?
And I think, yes.
What's the end game?
I think the personal vision that is being executed within the company vision, right? And so I think, because that whole being held hostage and so and this, and we equate that with delegation. And remember, I owned a service business for 27 years and I was never the license holder. And so I get it. You've got to figure out, you've got to do the different things. We were always licensed and we always did everything legally, but you have these things. And so I think when you have those moments, it's when you check your own personal vision, your own why, your own what you're doing it for. Because it hit me when you said that. I had a president here at Blue Collar before you. When I made my decision, I wanted to grow the business beyond Christy and I and an assistant. We ran like that for 7 or 8 years, and I went, I like team. I like having people around me. I like things like this. So let's grow it. Perfect. And I brought in another gentleman, and he's a great guy. I care about him deeply. I care about his family. I want nothing but the best for them. It wasn't a timing thing that for his life and my life, the time wasn't right. Okay, cool. So when we parted ways, I had the conversation like, well, that sucked. I just, and in the service business, you don't go out and introduce your general manager to your client base every day. In this business, you do. And so I built a lot of image for and around, this person and the different things and all that. And so now my ego takes this hit and I've got to go unwind that. And certainly some clients are going to be upset and I failed and all these different. So the ego goes, I'm not going through that again. I don't want to do that. Like, so on. And so that's why I think for me, there's things that you can't not do in your life. And for me, I can't not have an operator with me in a business. I can't. I don't want to do it by myself. And I don't want to do it with my wife. My wife's great at helping me get concepts off the ground and unpacking my brain. She's my number one coach for sure. And she's the strategic advisor here because that's how her brain thinks differently than mine. But we don't want to operate together, right? Not long term. And we had for a while, and it was that time. But if I wouldn't have had that ability to check in with myself and go, all right, pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and let's see what was right. Now, in hindsight, that's why you were on the team originally. Because I knew in my gut, there's a chance this thing doesn't work. And let's be clear, I don't think, we haven't had this conversation, so we might as well have it on camera. I don't think you would have come here if you didn't think there was a chance to do something big.
That's very interesting.
And you didn't want it when you got here.
I didn't because of what I came out of.
Exactly.
That's not what I was looking for at the time.
That's what's interesting.
Everything evolves, but this is what Chelsea was very skeptical.
Oh yeah.
She was super skeptical.
I remember.
Super skeptical. And for me, once again, it wasn't about the money, right? It's like it cop out. The money had to be there, but it wasn't about that. Yeah. For me, it was 100% what you just said. And I don't know that we've verbalized this, but I'm glad that we now had the conversation, which is 100%. I came here because I seen something bigger.
Yeah.
I didn't know what it was going to look like.
Right.
I didn't know how it was going to get put together, but I seen opportunity.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that's the thing that everybody should remember. We don't know what it's going to look like in 5 years either. We have our vision, we have our plan that we're going to work, and then the divine's going to enter the game, and everything's going to change and all. And so I think it's powerful when when we look and go. You said it earlier, like, well, I know how to run the service business, but I don't know how to run a coaching and training organization. I don't know how to be a president of a best practices group. But the reality is, everybody that's getting up today, none of us know how to do this because it's a new day. And there's been so much technology that was born overnight, and people woke up and wrong side of bed, right side of. We don't know what we're doing every day as leaders. We're just getting up and doing the best we can. And so I think when we start thinking we've got it figured out, that's danger zone. If you start thinking you've got the understanding of it, you're missing the point because you'll never understand it.
Good, because I'm still not understanding. I understand it better today than I ever have.
I hope you feel better.
But the reality is, there's two things really quick. The first thing is it's 100% about the people. Okay, so that's true in service business. It's true in this business, and it's true in every business.
Yes.
Like it's 100% about the people, and when you have the right people, quote, on the right seats in the bus,
yes.
Whatever that looks like,
right.
that's when you win. And I don't know if you'll ever remember this, but I was on stage and someone asked me from the audience, can you tell me why the coaches have been like a revolving door, people in and out?
Oh.
Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And I just answered it as truthfully as I knew how, which is they weren't good fits for you, which means they weren't good fits for us. Like when somebody's not a good fit for us, we move on. And I just said this, and I would repeat it again. And it's really cool how it becomes a part of the culture of the business. And I said this, when I know and somebody else knows, we're not going to ride it out anymore.
Yes.
And I think this is key in a service business.
Yes.
People let it ride out and play out for as long as they'll let it go, right?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, enough's enough. I got to draw the line in the sand. It's like, but when you know and you don't honor it, it actually creates more turmoil and challenges for yourself when you don't address and honor what you know needs to be done. And in many cases, we've said this, you're holding those people back as well.
Yes.
So they want to, like, example, and I've said this before, the day I wake up and I hate what I'm doing or I hate my job, it's the day I quit.
Yeah.
Like, I'm quitting. I'm not going to do this anymore.
Right.
And I look around at service businesses and I look at how miserable some people are.
Yeah.
And it's like they feel like this, right? They don't know any other way. And it's sad. It hurts me that people would live in that kind of misery and pain. Like it's a means to an end, I guess. I don't know.
That's that pain tolerance that we have, I think, and it's supposed to be hard, and it's not supposed to be fun, like we talked about. And I think in the team thing where. I go back to the people in my service business. I can't. I mean, gosh, the number of team that we had through the doors in those 24 years, especially being the only. I mean, we were the only progressive company when we first started. We were the first to go upfront pricing, first box trucks, first everything, and really kind of changed the market, which I'm proud of. But it came with a lot of daggers, and it came with a lot of misunderstanding, and it came with a lot of people that wanted the money without the effort or the understanding. And so as I learned through everything, my goal today is that whatever relationship I'm involved in or whatever reaction is had, that somebody leaves better than they came in. And I believe that everybody that's ever been at Blue Collar, I believe that they've left better than they came in. I also believe that Blue Collar is better than it was before everybody that came or left, and obviously our incredible team that's here right now. And I know there's a couple in there that some team members would disagree that we're better off because of it. But that's my hardcore belief, and that's what I think. And in the service business, when you know and you've done all the coaching and all the training and all the some people just aren't wired for it or wired to be happy or whatever it is, but that person's better off, and that's okay, and it's allowing. We have so much resistance in life, and we resist change so much, all of us. Like I wrote a book about change, and I find myself resisting change in different ways than I used to. And so I think it's important now. Let it evolve the way it's supposed to.
Thank you so much for those of you that are connecting with us by way of video. You're finding value in the videos that we provide for you here on this channel. We want to thank you so much for tuning in. And I want you to remember this. If you've enjoyed this video and you've learned something of value that you can implement into either your business or your personal life or both, and you want to hear more, I want you to stay tuned for this next video.